This one's for the disruptors, the uncommon, the unconventional, the rebels. You're not here to take things lying down. Well, season 2 is about shaking things up. I'm Beatrice, and this is the Art of Branding podcast. Be ready, be badass. Let's shake some shit up.
Couplepreneurs, like way to shake things up from the get-go. But Brooke and Jeremiah are rock stars, shredding things up in every sense of the word. They've written and recorded 2 albums, owned a gym, and authored books already. And they're shaking up the project management world with Project Revolution. Like, dams. Okay, so low-key wink, nudge moment. I have to disclose that Brooke and Jeremiah have also been badass clients, where we've shifted up the whole business presence. And you know what? I remember our first conversation, and it was all about shaking up the project management industry. Care to share with listeners?
We're shake, rattling, and rolling. It's been awesome. And 100%, the adventure we've been on with you has been incredible. And here's a cool thing. Here's a really cool thing. We stand out amongst every project management group out there 1,000,000%.
Absolutely.
1,000,000%. Like a lot of them, you know, the project management's got a bad rap, right? People make it pretty stuffy, a lot of jargon, which we're not going to do here today, folks. We're not doing jargon. People leverage it so much that it's just a sea of, noise. It's all noise. And we've created a very rockin' brand that we're very proud of. And it's been because of working with someone as awesome as you.
100% B. We came to you and we said we needed to shake up project management. That was our intent from the very beginning. And 1,000% we chose the right person with badassery, because that's exactly what you did. You helped us arrive at.
So fucking stoked to hear that. And it's like you said, Jeremiah, like it is challenging with, the whole industry doing a similar kind of like this is the way that we march. So to get to that point where you're like, okay, we don't want to be doing this anymore. We don't want to be following this same march that everybody else is doing. Like, what got you to that moment?
One of my favorite things about working with you and what we've done was we've leveraged what's great about both of us, right? We took what was unique about us and we implemented that into our message, into our meaning, into what we're trying to provide, because we are going beyond the standards of project management. And we're leveraging it to make it fun, which why can't it be fun? Why can't doing your job and your career be fun? And so it's interesting because at one point we stand out from the crowd, but at the other, people are now questioning one thing. They're like, are they serious enough or are they all fun and games? And that's where we bring in just enough jargon to prove that not only do we know our stuff, but we're fun, experiential, and it's awesome. So it's been this really cool journey, a lot of excitement and energy around something that doesn't have as much excitement around it all the time.
One of the big things that we came across like working together was things that don't seem like jargon, right? Like the words results or the words like impact. Mm-hmm. And going through that, it's almost like these words, they don't seem like jargon, but hey, it needs like more depth and more elaboration that perhaps others in the industry don't. So how have you found that balance?
You just have to go deeper. And this is one thing that you always do, Beatrice. Like, we'll throw out those words that we may not think are jargon and we think are descriptive. And you come back and you're like, but what? What does that mean? Elaborate. Let's go deeper. So anytime you think you're going to use a word like impact or, visionary or anything like that, what takes it to a deeper level to where, and that's where it really will resonate with somebody, will resonate with your ideal client, is when you can go deeper and tug on those strings a bit more.
We're all surfing the interwebs, right? We're running around. And if everything that we do can be Googled, and if I'm all like, today, I'm the visionary, I'm the transformationalist, and I start talking about all the same things everybody else is, how do you stand out by doing that? How do we stand out if we're going to have the same conversation about growth mindset as 7,127 other people? You're not. You're just lost in a sea of noise. How can you shake it up and use things? And like our core values is one of the biggest, seriously changed my life. I want everybody to know this right now. When we did the core values with you and we really dug deep into it, and I know I stood pretty hard on it. I kept going, go back to the core values. Got to go back to the core values. It was because they really started showing me that they didn't have to be the standard. You're all about a right hook and shaking it up, right? Bringing edge. And everything now that we do with our core values, they are so different than anybody else's. So different that if anybody uses it, they're completely ripping us off. 1,000,000%.
Yep.
1 million. They're like that good, like high voltage culture, high voltage rock stars, right? That's what we do. One of our core values is high voltage, self-charging, right? How many people out there are project management group going, hey, we've got high voltage. So that right there makes it interesting, unique, catches people's attention. Because it's like, well, high voltage, what is that? Then we can go in and we can have that conversation around it. And we also give them definitions, but it's powerful because we did separate from, we're visionary, we're transformationalists. Growth mindset.
Yeah. And that was from you poking and saying, go deeper.
Poke the bear.
What does this mean? Everybody can say this, and it leads to an explosion of things where we're like, we are getting a hold of you, at 11 o'clock at night, our time, because we just realized that we can tie our values into AC/DC, which was one of Jeremiah's first guitar riffs he learned, and he had the jacket with high voltage on it that his mom hand painted on it. Yeah. And we're in the room and we're like, and I'm thinking, well, why don't we just use that? What does this mean to us? High voltage, does that not mean everything? And here's Jeremiah, just flailing his arms around.
It's like, what?
Wide-eyed. Like he's about to break something, I did the thing,
the whole
clue. Picks up a guitar, smash. Oh my God, values.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And the another really cool thing about the values is we've been able to really apply them so many different aspects of our business. Like it's tying into our content, it's tying into the actual frameworks we use. Mm-hmm. It's tying into, the whole, not just the branding, but the philosophy behind everything that we do.
A lot of people see values as something you just do it and then you put it into a drawer or you put it on your about section of your website and that's it, right? Like, hey, we have integrity, we have authenticity, and it's almost like, I bet, looking at the project management industry, how many values you probably see like that, right? And if they're not, they're just there. What does it mean to them?
What's the hardest thing about the values is that we've gone down this really cool rabbit hole of how to create, standout values. But when we're talking to our ICP, they kind of have those other values. Right? They're kind of, some of them are about integrity and trust and collaboration. And so the cool thing is we tied that back into our values. So when we say our values, we can flip it on them and they say, what does that mean? And I can look at them and say, it's about integrity. It's about trust, right? When we talk about revolutionary is about having a mission, a vision bigger than yourself so you can serve others at the highest level. And they're like, and it's like, and that takes trust and integrity. And they're,
because that is important. Yeah. Trust and integrity are important,
But we wrap it up because we're revolutionary. What does that mean to us and what we're trying to accomplish? And what does that mean to you and your business? And then we can also use it in our frameworks for our programming, which is, I had to go back and change it because I used to be like, business 101. No kidding. I'm not kidding. There's business 101. And we start off and we're like, okay, this is all about clarity today, kids. Got my little whiteboard out. Now it's like, this is about your revolution.
I glaze over.
Yeah, they all go to sleep. And it's like, this is about your revolution. We start out, we have welcome to the jungle. Come on. And I'm like, what did that mean to you? What did you think was going to happen here? You guys are going to come in and it's going to be like, it's going to be like this now. And so everything that we've done with you has been this massive revolution of what we're doing. And it's been extremely powerful. And people are catching on.
That is so freaking exciting. And where are you guys at with it now? So it's been a few months since we left it at that. Like, what's the update? Any things that you're
There's a lot going on.
That like that.
Well, I'll just say one thing. As far as it's just amazing to always be able to evolve and innovate based on this identity. And that's more than anything, it really has given us an identity. And that is so important to tie back to. So anything we do, we can tie back to this identity and innovate according. And it just, the ideas just flow. Like there's too many ideas because it is so tied into not only how we want to serve others, but what we are, who we are. And that's all about the music and those values and everything. So it's like there's no limit.
The interesting thing that we see is the response from people, boots on the ground. So as we're building in public on LinkedIn and we're going out to other socials, right? People are like, this is interesting. But then anybody who knows me, they go, I love it. It fits your personality. It's brilliant, right? We get out in the public and Brooke, and it's like, so what do you guys do? We're a project management company.
Yeah, we tried that.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. And I was like, and so I started changing for a long time. I was like, I'd say that. And you want to talk about people diverting? I was like, what do you do? Oh, I'm a project management company. Oh, that's cool. So what else you guys, just gone. And so then I'd be like, they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm out to save the world. And then they're like, well, okay. What is that? I do with project management. Right. So Brooke, we've been at a lot of events. And so we've really been, honing in on that elevator pitch, just being able to say who we are, why we do it, and how we do it. And the cool thing that we've had, and we've been dabbling with this because when we left with, maybe School of Project Rock, and we're just trying it out right now. We're just dipping our toe in it, right? Like this, like just for one of our programs. Like it's like, hey, one of our programs is School of Project Rock because we work with universities as well.
The last event, everybody I met, that was one of the first things that came out of my mouth because they ask, we're all there doing this and they ask and I say, oh yeah, well, we like to say we're the School of Project Rock. I would continue because what we learned from getting feedback from people is, yeah, they want to hear that hook and that what is enticing about you. But at the same time, they actually do want to know what you do. So after that, I gave them that thing that made their eyebrows go like this. So like, oh yeah, the School of Project Rock. I'm like, yeah, so we take project management, we simplify it, we take the boring out and we make it rock. So in all that whole thing, I get to put in project management. And so at the same time, they know what we do, but they're like, but that's so not what you would expect from a project management business. Yeah. And we had great feedback. Everybody was just like,
great.
Tell me more. Let's talk. Great conversations.
They wanted to hear about it. They wanted to understand it. Like, what is it? What rocks about it? And it can't be we rock about it. That's not what it is. It's like your results you get rock.
Yes.
And how we deliver it so you can learn rock. And they're like, ooh.
Exactly. That in itself is just, it's so powerful. Yes, like you hook the interest, and that's what we're all about as humans, right? Like our concentration levels are our focus is 8 seconds, right? So it's like getting that interest, like, wait, what? Like stopping the scroll or stopping, like even in conversation, to get someone interested to know more, and then elaborating it in a way that's like, it's simple, and it's concise, like saying that's what we do, but without going into like the tech jargon, it's like, this is what we're going to deliver. So people like automatically, hey, this is something different.
Yeah. Let's
learn more. And, speaking of this disruption that you guys have been doing, I'm sure you've seen a lot of people think disruption. It's so easy. Just drop like an F-bomb or like, something like that. But really, it's so much deeper and there's so much more involved in it.
Yeah. That was a big thing for us because, we're musicians and we've learned the lessons about the F-bomb, right? We wrote this incredible song and we loaded it with F-bombs. And at the end of the day, we looked back on it and we're like, you know what? I wish we wouldn't have done that because we could be more accessible to other people. We wouldn't have to put this disclaimer, parental advisory or anything like that. Does it mean enough to us and to our people to drop F-bombs? Is that what we want to differentiate us? And we decided it wasn't. So we moved past that. That's not what we will use. We'll use the values, the mission behind it. And that's where we'll rally.
I like to use the word, well, never mind, it's an F-bomb.
What?
I'd say I like the word fuckery, but that's like one of my favorite words. And it's an industry terminology.
It is. Is that jargon?
That's some good jargon, the fuckery fairy. Yeah. But then I realized that we're not using F-bomb. So I guess I broke the own rule.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I think many people think you have to do, taking a baseball bat and smashing things or using like saying fuck or whatever, right? Like it doesn't have to go to an extreme to stand out. Like, for you guys, it was a lot about like your creative side and bringing that into like standing out, right? Rather than being like the panda, right? Like the panda smashing up the computers and everything.
You want to disrupt the project management industry, say it in a way that people can understand it simply. That's all I got to do, right? Mm-hmm. And it was like, that's where there's 300,000 words or how many in the English language. And, and one of them doesn't have to be all the cuss words. We can string together language that can resonate with people in a way that is disruptive and actually helpful and useful. And it's funny, my sister actually used to tell me that because I have a bad mouth, right? And she would tell me, she go, there's 300,000 words in the English language. Can't you find a different word?
That's great.
Yeah. And it stuck with me because it's like, as you start leveling up, right? Next level. I started leveling up in my career, and that same person that was used just, and I'm talking, I was Sailor Jeremiah. That same person couldn't be in those meetings with these professionals using that kind of language. And it couldn't be a habit. So I had to unbreak that habit because that's a habit of ours, right? Especially if we get mad and angry. And so I had to make that change. And now I'm on videos with people all the time, and I never have to think you can put me in a room full of kids and I can be talking about some complex stuff and I never slip up and have those kind of words in my vocabulary because we train that. So you can be very disruptive and not use that language. But there's also a time and a place to use that language if you need to make an impact. You need to do it now. You need to make a radical change. You need to break somebody's state so you can get a result. That's how you do it.
And I really think it's knowing who you're speaking to, right? Like, say, for example, for Badassery, right? The brand is about, really shaking things up. It's got the baseball bat, it's got the shades. And, there are points where like I purposely swear because I don't want to be working with too colored up people, right? Because there's that creativity that, you need to bring to it. Like the rabbit holes that we went down, you need a certain element of like, let me think out of the box. And if you're not willing to go out of that box, we wouldn't get as far as we did.
You just said, you didn't want to work with too high collared up, right? That goes back to knowing your ICP, know who you're speaking to, but more importantly, know who you don't want to speak to, who you don't want to invite in your life, because you can invite some people that will take your little business and make it very toxic. You have to qualify them. And that means your branding and mission and message needs to be aimed at your ICP. It's so critical. If not, you're going to get a bunch of people that's going to bring their own baseball bats to the party, and you don't need that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Exactly.
It does. It repels as much as it attracts.
Yeah.
So if you want to repel, then
smell.
Then go for it. Then smell. Yeah.
I mean, it's almost stronger. It's almost, a lot of the ads that I see, you know, looking back into, say, for example, the 60s, you know, Ogilvy, all that, they're either like completely reframing what that product or service is, so that, like, you know, it's reaching that new audience, and they're super specific, like, this is the people that we want to, like, be targeting. Like, say, for example, there was this one cigarette brand, right? Like, they recognize that women are not as targeted by other cigarette companies. So they're like, okay, you know, this makes it, obviously we know that this is not the case now, but, like, you know, this makes you lose weight, or, like, you know, these things that at a deep level that we resonate with. And that can go in both ways. Like, if we don't want to work with somebody, it's hitting that deep emotion that they're, like, triggered.
Yeah. And was that about the time where they started to make the cigarettes like longer and more slender and elegant looking?
Do you want to smoke long
Right.
cigarettes?
I think so. I remember there was this one company that they hired, like, a bunch of women to go out, and they were like, you know, this is a time where women's empowerment really started. And they made it seem like this is the, like, you know, empowering thing. This is the very cool thing to, like, you know, hey, we are something as well.
Yeah,
Right.
we can smoke if we want.
We can smoke if we want to.
And now look at how things are.
Well, the thing, yeah, I could go off on
women's
that.
empowerment has come a long way.
It's a big deal. Long way.
How have you found that in terms of your messaging? You know, when you're putting your content out there, you know, with this fresh vibe, these fresh values, fresh direction, and trying to really elicit an emotion. How have you found that?
So here's what I think about the messaging and what we've learned. That's been the hardest part, because everything has to resonate with your ICP. You have to be speaking to your ICP, and trying to write stuff that's outside the norm, that gives them content that you are who you say you are, and you're not going to cause them more problems, and really resonate with them, right? While having a brand that's fun, exciting, and different, right? Is now that's really where we're at right now, that we're really working on from a social media standpoint. Getting in public with them, it's a little easier because everybody can feel each other's energies and they can see that you're the real deal. But when it comes to the messaging online, with specifically to content, that to me is the biggest challenge I think most all entrepreneurs and people on social media are going to face right now. There's a certain percentage of people that can really truly master that, and the other percent, we need to work it. And so for me, now having this incredible brand, and the brand is so important, it's different than everybody else. That's when we made this decision to work with you, it's seriously the best decision we've ever made, because it gave us focus. So now that we have that focus, we have to go back and unscrew our head, all of our thoughts, all the things that we were doing wrong. We have patterns. And now we're really trying to dial that messaging in. And then, honestly, we're looking at the metrics behind it, because once you start getting what works, you want to do more of what works. And so that's the most complex thing, in my opinion, right now, is the biggest step for us as we're growing this company is really solidifying that messaging and making it simple, crisp, concise, and resonate with not me, with everybody else. And that's the trick. That's hard. Yeah.
Lots of ingredients.
It's a job
to put in.
Just to separate, and I know we talked about this a fair bit, like, it was just to separate what our perception is, how this might drop or how this might be understood, to how the audience, how the target audience will perceive something. Like, it's completely different often, you know, based on, you know, we've had a lot of experiences. So the way that we read things is going to be different. You know, the way that we understand things, like words that don't seem like jargon or don't seem complex to us, to other people, they might be like, wait, what does this mean? Or, like, you know, to try to understand more.
Yeah. And that was really powerful with working with you, is because you are outside. So you were always able to give that input from a different point of view. And that was huge. And also, I'll have to say, the fact that you are in a completely different country, and now like a second different country from when we started working with you, that international thing actually adds another element to it also, because you can input that like, hey, well, people around the world may take it this way or they may not understand it. And
That's a big lesson.
I think we all don't realize how prevalent that is. And even the most simplest of things that aren't necessarily even offensive. It's just people just don't understand it, or they could be offended by it. That's a huge thing too.
Yeah, with our broken ass English.
Yeah, like I know I remember so many times I was trying to be clever, and especially with the music things, because we've been in the weeds with recording music and everything like that, industry terms. And so you'd be like, what is that? And I'd be like, oh yeah, I was trying to be funny and clever, but apparently it's not going to work, because you're not in the weeds, which most people aren't.
Exactly. And, it's not even on a small scale. Companies like Starbucks, they first tried to go to Australia and the brand didn't last because they didn't understand how much of a coffee drinking culture it was already there. Like there's a lot of like a big cafe scene, and they didn't want complicated, sugary, like filled coffees. Right? It was just straightforward, simple. I mean, I imagine it'd be like going to Italy and being like, here's coffee. Yes, it works for the tourist areas. And now, like, if you go to Australia, you'll be able to find Starbucks, but it's like in that tourist area.
Yeah, interesting. And then Seattle was just like, oh, this is great. It's cold. We want sugar. Or I haven't seen the sun in 6 months. Like, give me sugar and caffeine.
Honestly, I can't believe the stuff that people drink in coffees. Chocolate mocha, chocolate, whatever. I can't believe the stuff that's in those things.
How do people remember the line? Like whatever it is that they say to the barista, for them to remember themselves, but for the barista to be like, wait, was that like soy or was that almond or was it like half no foam?
No.
What?
Right.
That in itself is a skill.
Yeah. My thing is, how is it the caffeine or the sugar that's keeping you up? Which one is it? Because those things are like, they're like 1,000 calories, man. It's like,
I know. I mean, I'd rather have some chips and guacamole for those calories, personally.
Well, I know we started like one of our earlier conversations was about coffee, and it was like, hey, have you tried like Turkish coffee? And that is like, I don't know, coffee at its like purest. Yeah. Again, right hook to the face. Like, hey, okay, I'm awake. Let's go.
I used to only drink, just so everybody knows here, that if anybody cares, I used to only drink black coffee and cold brew coffee, nothing in it. Like completely. I drink it just for the taste and for the caffeine. And then Brooke's like, I'm going to give you
wait, real quick. Cold black coffee. He never drank hot coffee.
Yeah, cold. Yeah, I wanted it. Yeah, whoa. I wanted it cold. I like my cold brew and I like cold coffee, right? And I don't like crap though. I don't want that. Doesn't mistake it for crap coffee. And she's like, you need to try a little. I mean, this is recent, within the year and some change now. She's like, and I mean, I've got some decades now of shit coffee, black coffee. It wasn't shit. I just take it back. But she comes back to me. She's like, hey, check this out. Try this. And she puts her little, and I was like, oh, now it's like, where's my cup of Joe?
Like piping hot cup of coffee in the morning, and it does something for your spirit. It makes you feel good. It tastes good. It's comforting. And it's, I think it's even a scientific thing of how it actually makes you a little bit happier. And so
it made me happy.
Yeah.
Now I love it.
I feel like that might also be like something around coffee as well, like similar to what happened with cigarettes, right? Like there's almost like that addictive nature because, if you have coffee for a while, right? And when you try to stop it, it's like all those negative things like headaches, grumpiness, whatever. And it's like, oh, I need coffee. I was talking to like one of my really good friends from like Finland, and they were like, no, it's just like, I need it to be able to talk to people. And I'm like, that's a whole thing. But, we're slightly off topic.
Slightly.
But jumping back on it, it's all about that reframing. How are we going to be framed differently from everybody else in the industry. So we're not even competing against them anymore, right?
That was brilliant. Everything in life is frames and reframes. And if you can reframe everybody's opinion on who you are and what you are, you'll absolutely stand out in the marketplace.
Before you started with like brand strategy, before you thought of like, okay, let's find a brand strategist, or maybe it wasn't even find a brand strategist, like you just had this like, we need this, like, to other people in that situation, what are the signs that they should like look out for, or what are the things that will be happening for them that they should be considering? Hey, maybe you should be looking at your brand strategy.
I've done an evaluation. You need to have a product, right? And your product, don't fall in love with your product, fall in love with your client, fall in love with your customer. And you also then need to attract your customer. And how are you going to attract your customer? You need a brand. You need something that helps you stand out in the marketplace. Right now, everything has been done. There's going to always be something different, but it's got a prettier box. It's got something different. Your positioning, your packaging, right? Your message, your positioning, your packaging. So if you really want to take your business serious and you really want to take it to the next level, you need to make sure that you have something that people want. First off, you just got to have something that they want, and you got to know who you're selling it to, and you have to get your message. Everything in life is messaging. Branding and messaging go together, because once you get those, so I'm within the early stages of you starting your business and on your journey, the quicker that you get consistent, that when somebody looks at your profile and they see something that reminds them of you and you stand out, the more clients you're going to get, the more people are going to come and talk to you. The sooner you do that, the faster you can scale and grow your business and your brand, period. Earlier on, there's people who waited. I know of one person I've talked to recently for 20 years, didn't do anything. They got the same business, been doing the same thing for 20 years. 20 years. And they're just now thinking about, how do we expand and scale? Just now. And you're like, and so they've got what they've always got because they like what they've always liked, and they did a lot of boots on the ground, so people knew them personally. But the visually, the branding, the connection, the magnet, right, wasn't there. And so I highly recommend anybody who wants to take their business serious, the sooner, the better. And if you really want one of the greatest brand strategists I know, if you want to be badass,
the best,
if you want the best, you need to source the best, and you need to get badassery, because you do help elicit the greatness out of people. And I want everybody to know that. Badassery, Beatrice, you elicit the greatness out of people. And you make us think and dig deep. And it's been an honor and a pleasure. And I can't say that enough. And anybody else who wants to do this, start now and call me.
I'll say that, the wheels had been going for a bit with us, and we had tried different things. So the first thing I know, we weren't consistent, whether it be with our messaging. We didn't have any differentiation. We knew we needed it, but we didn't have it. Mm-hmm. I know the visuals aren't the forefront of what you do, but the visuals are an outcome of what you do. And, it's something you worked with us through also. Our visuals were all over the place, and we had an identity that we tried to latch onto that just wasn't working for us. And from there, without having a solid foundation, we made some mistakes. We tried to have a professional website built by someone else after I had already created 2 websites. And then we wanted to really get a professional one going. So we brought someone on, and they gave us some cheesy branding questions. And we're like, okay, I'm going to run down this website.
It didn't resonate with us.
Yeah. And it didn't, they tried to just build us something when we didn't have a foundation. And then that was one of the biggest mistakes we made. So once you have a product and you're ready to go and you know your ICP, you have to start building those things. You have to get visuals. Mm-hmm. You have to have a message, differentiation, positioning, all those things. Then you want your website. And the only way you can do any of those things without making mistakes and with starting from a place of knowing that's going to build a solid foundation is to work on the branding before you do that. So I know you have your criteria, what you need. But once you have that, I really, really highly suggest that people think about their branding strategy.
And I want to say one thing to piggyback on that.
Mm.
It's because it costs you a lot of rework and money. So if you spend all this money up front building a website, but you don't know your brand, your colors, your mission, your vision, your values, who you are as a company, great, good for you. You're going to put it up there and then you're going to go redo it. And I'm not saying that you can get the brand right the first time, but at least you can start, like she said, from a place of experience, and you can progressively elaborate and grow it, because you'll be starting with something that's from your core, right? From who you are, which resonates with people. So you can kind of build upon it as you get information. But having nothing and just going blindly is the biggest mistake that we have personally done and cost us a lot of money. We would have happily paid you all that money back then. No problem. Just so you know, I'm not deluded. I say this and I mean this authentically to the viewers and people, that I believe that badassery really changed our life and did a lot of great things for us, and it really helping our business. And it's very important that we let people know that for what you've done for us, beyond important, it was just awesome. It's badass.
It's badass.
Go look at our brand. Go look at our brand. I mean, people go check it out. Go look at it. It's rad. It's fun. We got lightning.
Go, like in the notes and everything, go check out the links and everything. But it is especially, when you're trying to expand into new areas. One of my clients right now, they're also trying to expand into like a new market. So it's really understanding that and growing that. And so the last question that I ask everybody that comes on board the podcast is, so what is the biggest societal norm that you guys want to push back on and teach others about?
Biggest societal norm we want to push back on? Ooh. Yeah, that is a good one. Okay, so we have a core mission that both of us are a part of. And, we came together. We've always been the kind of people that want to evoke change in the world. We want people to be empowered. We want to rally against the wrong. And there's so many businesses out there who are all about that, who are about changing the world and making positive impact. So at the end of the day, what we want to do as Project Revolution is rally behind those projects and those businesses that are ultimately out there to change the world.
Actually, to save the world. They're going to save the world. And in order for any of the things that are happening right now when it comes to client change and all the different things that are happening all around the world, and I'm talking sustainability, client change, you've got wars, we got things that are happening. Everything requires people and projects to make it happen, to lead and deliver and get results. Those people need to show up their best and empowered, or they're going to make decisions that could actually end us. And so one of the things that we are built around is creating high voltage culture. This is self-charging people who actually love what they do, how they do it, why they do it, and what they do, period. This is what we're about. And if we can inspire them to show up and understand how the important role that they play in this world, it can potentially save the world and save us. It's a big mission. It's a revolution.
Bringing the electricity, bring that lightning.
Electrifying businesses.
Electrifying.
Create high voltage cultures of rock stars that know how to lead and deliver results.
I mean,
to not change the world, but save the world, right? I mean, to just be electrified.
There is
plug in and amp up.
Revolution's in our name for a reason, and it's for positive reasons.
Oh yeah, despite whatever like mailer light or all these jazz things.
Man, we got booted. Instagram booted us.
MailChimp.
Yeah, I had to start a new Instagram.
Instagram booted what? Because of the name?
We don't
we're
know.
Not sure.
We can't figure it out. They're like, you violated our the same thing that happened.
We're speculating.
Okay, this is like a loophole, like a rabbit hole for another day. But thank you both for coming on board. And you can connect with Brooke and Jeremiah through the dates in the podcast show notes. Thanks for listening, and drop a 5-star review if you'd like to hear more badassery. And when you're ready to shift your business from just another to the obvious, visit badasserybyB.com to get started. And bum, 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 bum.
Time for bloopers. Yay!
I don't know what just happened. We're back. Okay. Here's something that just popped up and it said meetings to end. We're like twinners. We're trying to fit into our little screen. We're like,
But they I think it's on a wider screen, maybe. I don't know. You guys haven't got a name. Squadcaster 90 CG.
Oh,
Squadcaster.
Okay.
Let's see what we can do.
Squadcaster.
Named
Fuck
out.
yeah.
Squadcast it out.
was this in our directions? Did we already party foul?
I think it's okay. I mean, it's anyway.
Hold on,
I can read. Actually, I can rename you guys.
Yeah, rename us because that's like super not cool.
That is so not branded.
We don't want you to be 90 CG.
Oh wait, I got it.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll jump out
We are
then.
Project.
Are you
Revolution.
renaming yourself something crazy?
No, we're just straight up Project Revolution. Right?
Just Project Revolution,
Hit save.
or Project Rock. Revolution. Huzzah!
Did it show up?
There we go. Wait, no.
Yeah, like here, check it out. Check. Boom, you're done.
Did I spell it right?
Boom. Come on!
You got to check.
I've done that before. I'm typing on the screen, and people can see it. You guys can see when I'm typing things there, and it's like, oh god, I'm spelling this so wrong.
It's nothing worse.
I don't know how to spell this. Send me back to school.
Nothing worse than having your grammar errors displayed live for everyone to see.
So interesting story. I've spent my whole career doing that because for some reason I ended up with the laptop in the meeting with all the people, and they're like, "Okay, we need to take notes. Jeremiah, be the scribe." And I start typing, and I'm like the worst typer ever. I can play a guitar 1,000 miles a minute. I can do a lot of things, but typing that quick under all that pressure, I'm just like, fat finger. It drives her crazy. But I type like this. I just don't type well. I'm like, woo.
We know what we're trying to write, but brain to finger, it's not hand to eye coordination. No, it's brain to finger.
And all the people staring at you, and they're all correcting you. They're like, no, misspell it. You're like, I know, I'm not stupid. I'm just having a hard time dealing with your BS, people. Suck it.
Facts.
You remember that panda that destroys all the stuff? The cheese panda.
The angry panda.
Yeah, that's me.
Angry office panda.
Cheese panda. I did not even know it's a cheese panda. All I know is it's an angry panda.
It's a cheese brand. They branded. They're all about cheese.
Oh yeah, they have the panda.
No, I know.
Be right back.
Yeah, no. One of my friends sent me that because I was like, I'm really shit at memes. That's just it's my, what do you call that? Superman's weakness.
Your nemesis, your kryptonite.
Oh my god, yeah, it's my kryptonite. Memes are my kryptonite. I'm like, I don't even know what to use. And they were like, use this. And I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. What is it? So I did not even know about this. Anyway, wait, sidebar.
Side meme. He's back.
Welcome. Start. Okay. Low-key wink wink nudge nudge moment. We're ready.
The adventure we've been on with you has been incredible.